This being our 15th anniversary, we wanted to present something that was unusual, something that would stand out, something that would be a bit splashy. In fact, I think this is going to be a sensation. And us being located halfway between New York and Philadelphia, there's so many options for opera goers that I think something like Nixon in China would really stand out. Um, it's a work that's set to this wonderful libretto by Alice Goodman. And while you might think that this libretto is a narrative of this historic visit of Nixon to China, it's much more than that. In fact, it's quite poetic and philosophical. And I would say that it's chock full of metaphors and double meanings. Almost every line has a double meaning. How would I describe the music of John Adams? He is a minimalist composer, but what he does to construct the score is to use certain rhythmic and melodic modules. So these are like building blocks. And he strings these together in various permutations to create a phrase and an extended scene. And then these modules can be altered. They can be shortened, they can be extended, or varied in some other way, pitch or tonality. And then these modules are also juxtaposed in counterpoint with other modules and other variation of modules. And so that's how the whole thing is constructed. If you've listened to other operas of John Adams or other works, such as Dr. Tomic, The Death of Klinghoffer, The Flowering Tree, and his most recent composition, which is The Passion According to the Other Mary, which premiered last year in Europe, they all have one thing in common. Adams' music has intense rhythmic drive, and Nixon in China in particular has a lot of jazz elements. In fact, it's an unusual orchestration. There are 4 saxophones in this orchestra, and there are no horns, and there are no bassoons, and there's no timpani. So it's an unusual orchestration, but a lot of rhythmic drive. Yes, it's minimalist, and there are repetitions, but because of the rhythmic variety and vitality throughout the score, I think you'll find the music quite mesmerizing from beginning to end. It's definitely rooted in tonality. There are clear chordal structures. And what Adams tends to do in this opera is to focus this chordal sonority in one part of the texture at one time. So sometimes you might hear it in the woodwinds, these chords, while other instruments are creating punctuation. Sometimes these chords are in the chorus. Sometimes it's in the brass. So it's constantly varying, and it's a very organic process of how this unfolds. So I would just to draw an analogy, when we enjoy a good glass of wine, it's very complex. It's not just one thing. It's not just a fruity taste or an oaky taste. A glass of wine is a sophisticated combination of many elements. And so with John Adams, it's a similar sort of thing. There are many elements and put together in such creative ways. And I think the music will be very engaging from beginning to end. And that's just the music. And when you see it with the costumes and the lighting and the staging, I think it will be even more engaging.